It's early morning and fishermen are returning from a night spent fishing on Lake Kivu. Their work is finished, but here on the island, the day is just beginning. Children walk to school and classes start at 7:30.
Bonjour.
For 1 in 3 children, the school fees are too high. Instead, they go to work. Fishing and boat building supports so many people on the island. Hundreds more earn money as miners. They risk their lives for tungsten and tin. Most people work on the land, growing cassava, beans, and raising goats. Coffee has been grown here for decades, but there is no export market. Instead, the coffee is smuggled into neighboring countries where it's sold for little money. The burden of survival falls on the shoulders of women who are strong, resilient, and who find support in community groups.
Well, thanks very much for joining this session, everyone. It's on the value of connectivity in poor, marginalized, and remote areas. And I think you'll find our discussion quite enlightening, as we're lucky enough to have Patrick Byamungu, who is director and co-founder of a non-governmental organization working in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the remote island of Ijwi. Patrick, would you like to tell us a little bit about how the NGO came about and what its general focus is on?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Mike, for this question. So the ideas come from the activity which La Différence are doing here, because we are, in general, we are supporting social business, but also we have a big focus in technology. So through this, we went to Ijwi just to see if we have some potential businesses, local businesses there. And we start, 4 years ago, we start to work with a coffee cooperative. And through this collaboration, we meet the king of the island, and we start to talk with him just to see if there is other aspects which we can cover on the island. And then the king of the island ask us if it is possible to bring internet on the island. And it was a very long journey to do that. But the king was very, very motivated, and he insists to have this internet on the island. So we through this reflection, through this collaboration, it is in this way which we start to launch, or which we start a community network, Pamojanet.
Right. So just to get this clear, you were actually doing rural development projects and entrepreneurship, the capacity building, as I understand it, and you didn't actually start out with the aim of providing connectivity. Is that how I understand it correctly?
Sorry, can you repeat? Sorry, please. Can you repeat your question?
I just wanted to be clear that when Pamojanet started, your aim as a non-governmental organization wasn't purely focused on the provision of connectivity, as many connectivity telecom companies are, but more in terms of doing many different things, such as coffee, is that right, in terms of helping rural development, and connectivity was just part of it?
Yes. We support, we have been support a lot of local businesses, but in our global strategy, we know that the technology have a big part in businesses. So we are not only giving device or giving financial support to local businesses, but we are providing also some technology solution to their businesses. So that's why when we were working with those cooperatives on the island, we was very interested to integrate businesses in everything what the cooperative are doing there. So through this collaboration, we discussed, we had a very good discussion with the Mwami, and then we find that we can also have this opportunity to start a community network which is based on the Wi-Fi.
Yes, well, I'm sure that connectivity is probably an intimate part of most businesses that are running today, so I can understand the need for it in a situation like Idjwi Island. So once you had the request and the go-ahead from the king of the island, what were the next steps in terms of the process? As I assume this isn't an area where you had a lot of expertise, and people on the island were probably very unfamiliar with what might be in store for them.
Yeah, so as I said previously, the king asked us to bring the internet, but the most important problem which the king would like to resolve there, it is because more and more the youth was leaving the island. So after finish the school, after finish the university, all the youth they are leaving. Just and for the king, he thought that this can have a very bad implication on the economy of the island. So the idea of the king, it was to connect the island on through the internet, but also to try to see how we can use the power of the technology, the power of the internet, to start and to try to build some local services, to try to co-design local services with the community on the island.
Oh, that's interesting. So what were the next steps in the actual process of deploying the network? Did you just order up a bunch of towers and send them to the island, or how did the actual process go? Because I know it can be quite difficult in the cultural context in many remote rural African areas.
Yeah, so as you say, connect the rural areas, it's a very big challenge. And we start this long journey 5 years ago, and I remember that the connectivity which we are using right now, come from a nearest country, which is Rwanda, which is like 20 kilometers from a first mountain in DRC. And from this first mountain in DRC, we have again to transport their connectivity until to 60 kilometers to arrive on the island. And from there, we have to share the internet through the village. So in terms of logistic, it is a very, very big challenge because of the island itself. There is no infrastructure. There is no infrastructure. The population there is very poor. So we have to build the pylon or the mast in the nearest town, bring them by the lake to the Idri, and on the Idri there is no car, for example. There is no big boat. It's just the small boat. So people have to carry the mast, they have to carry the battery, they have to carry everything on the head until up the top of the hill. So it is really, really a big challenge to work in this kind of context. But one positive aspect is that when the first time we really arrived in the village, they didn't really realize what we are doing. But they are really, the population was curious to see what will happen, how this tower or how this equipment, how are they going to resolve our problem? So the community was really curious, and they was really enjoy to help and to see what will happen after.
Yeah, I can imagine. That does bring me on to the next point is, how did you motivate them for making all of these efforts along with you to set up the network? I mean, if they were completely unfamiliar with the internet, I assume there are no providers on the island already, and there would be no real access to, say, mobile broadband. What do you think motivated them to be excited about getting connectivity? What was the value to them as residents on the island? What advantages do you think they perceived as being important to bring to them?
Yeah, so the advantages, like on the island we have some small local businesses, and those small local businesses, they are using the internet, they are using the bandwidth from 8 to 4 p.m. And after 4 p.m., all the rest of the population can use the internet for free. So for them, for the business, for example, for the local business, it's a very, very big and good deal, because through this they can sell their products, they can put their product online so people can see and can buy. But we have also some local hotel, where they can help them for people to book a room, something like this. But also for the community, it is a very big value for them, because they will be able to be in touch with the rest of the country, because Idri is an island and it's very, very isolated. So they know and they recognize that the value of the connectivity is very important for them. But at the beginning, they didn't really have this in mind, because someone who never used the internet and you bring him the internet, it takes time. It takes time for him to really see the value of the internet. But with the community, we have some. We try to set up some learning just to show them how, for example, to use some device to be connected, to try to show them how they can protect their private life on the online or on the internet. So but I remember we start and people was really curious and just seeing. But right now we have more than 5,000 people who are connected on on this network. And
Wow.
this is something, this is something which is encouraged.
Yeah, so they were able to get hold of smart devices, I guess, and the free access. Is that a business model you think that's scalable to? It sounds like you're cross-subsidizing their costs of the public free access with the revenues generated from the business customers. Is that correct?
Yes. So for now, our business model is based on that, because now 60% of the operational cost, for example, is covered directly by the community network. La Difference is still helping with the 40%, but we are expecting that more will have many clients. I mean, local businesses who will join the network. More people are going to be interested to be a part of the network. More we will get more money, and more the network Pamoja Net will be able to cover 100% on his monthly cost.
Wow, that's an interesting model that we don't hear enough about, I think. Do you think the rest of the island will be covered through your revenue generation, or will you need to fundraise for all the additional equipment that will be required to increase your coverage to that point?
Yeah, so after now is very, very difficult to to say we will coverage all the island, because as you know, the island of Idri is the second largest island in Africa after Madagascar. So it is something, it is big. So to coverage all the islands, we need more investment. We need more investment to cover the island. We need more equipment, but also we need more skills, because we need to teach, for example, local people how to continue to maintain the community network. And all those aspects need financial support.
Yes, absolutely. Training is obviously a big component. Also, for members of the public, I guess, to get the most out of the network. Have they been able to obtain any digital literacy skills through the project?
Yes, we have been. We have a small team on Idri, which has like 4 people, which we have trained for that. But it is really a basic trend. But we have also a network for women, because we realize that more and more the technology is moving forward, but the woman is not involving in it. So we thought that if we start to involve women in the community network, in the future, they will themselves be really good integrated, and they will not be like how to say, like a friend. or a stop for the community network. They will be a part of the community network. Yeah.
A part of it, right. That seems like a good strategy for sustainability. It seems you've learned quite a lot in this process of deploying and managing the network. Do you think this is a useful experience that your knowledge could be applied in other situations, or is this kind of a unique experience that's just relevant for the island of Idjwi?
Yeah, so that's why we are, as a community network, we are really very happy to be part of some global and international organization or movement of the community network. We are, for example, working with the APC, Agency for Progressive Communication. We are working also with the ISOC, Internet Society, and other global movements who are trying to moving the internet forward around the world. So it is just to try to share our experience. How did we succeed, for example, to set up a rural community network? So we are really enjoying to share this experience with other community network, because at the same time, we are learning also how the other community are dealing with some problem. And we are also hoping that in the future we are going to expand our community network and cover all the island. But also something which we want really to do, it is to continue to co-design their technical services or their numeric services with local community. But also, we are thinking that if we succeed with this first pilot of the community network, we can show it to our local government and say, see, this is the great model for technology. This is how technology can contribute to the development of the country. So government take this model and try to expand it everywhere. So, and we think that this can be our small contribution for this country.
That's a great ambition, Patrick. Unfortunately, we're running out of time here, so I just want to also encourage anyone to go and visit Idjwi. It's a beautiful place and it'll be a fascinating case study to go and see. And yes, I think there'll be some question and answer session after this. So thanks a lot, Patrick, for your time. It's been really interesting.